Hello, welcome back to Crushing Sounds. My name is Chris, and today I am joined by the melodic death metal band tearing up the Southwest, War Shepherd. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. How are you doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for having us on the channel. Absolutely fine.
No worries at all. Would you like to introduce yourselves and your roles within the band?
Okay, you can start. You're the boss man. Boss man. I'm Chris, and I'm guitarist in War Shepherd. I'm Jamie, and vocalist in War Shepherd.
Awesome. Chris is a good name. I concur with that.
I was gonna say.
So yeah. Hi, Chris. I'm Chris. We might as well lay the context out there for those watching. I met you guys a couple of weeks back. You were playing at my favorite venue, the Griffin in Bristol, and you were supporting the mighty Battleborn. Really, really enjoyed your set. Thought you guys were awesome. So how did that go? How did that go for you guys, that show?
Fantastic. I mean, I've been to the Griffin before as punter, just drinking, really. Never really been there for gigs. So it's quite weird for my first experience at the Griffin to be performing there. I've heard stories of people that go, yeah, it's basically just someone's loft. And it is basically someone's loft, but it's a great loft. Love that loft. Yeah, it was fantastic, fantastic venue. The crowd are great, the people in Bristol are great. And Battleborn, you can't speak highly enough of them. They're just such great guys and so much fun to have played with, basically. Definitely. And Avon as well. They were great. We really enjoyed the Avon guys. We were playing them again in September. The year. So but Battleborn, like as I said at the end of the set, they're one of my favorite bands. And it was genuinely a massive honor for me to be able to play alongside them. And Bristol's again one of my favorite cities in the world, especially for gigs. I've been going to Bristol for gigs ever since I was old enough to really travel around on my own, and I've seen almost 4 years old. So I've first went to Bristol on my own, but I've been going there for years, seeing all my favorite bands in all the venues there. So it meant a lot to me on a personal level just to be able to go there for myself for a gig, not to be like, oh, I'm gonna go see my mate's band play. It's more a case of I'm actually going there. I'm going to perform. I'm going to go get a pie minister before I play. That was very high up on the list of things to do. Kept saying to them, we're going to Prime Minister. Then we're going to Quigley's afterwards. Quigley's, yeah.
Oh, Quigley's, yeah. It's not a show at the Griffin about stopping in at Quigley's afterwards.
Actually, I was saying this to I was the only one who got it. Me and my fiance. And my wife. No, she was sat there. Oh. She was like, you get your Quigley's. Get your Quigley's. Yeah.
I'm not going to give any context for people watching if they don't know what it is. They can imagine what Quigley's might be. I do have to ask. Yeah, I do have to ask though. Who came up with the mid-song rock paper scissors game? I think it was James. Yeah, so our other guitarist James. There was always you were always doing like the what do you call it? Oh, not guitar. Yeah, the sort of the natural harmonic. That's what You both started doing that early on in practices, and then I think it was just before was it? Did you do it at the first gig or the second gig? I think it was the second gig, which was we played Melt to the Masses, Devon and Cornwall, and he said in no, actually it was the first gig because we had a practice the day before, and he said randomly, he was like, "Oh, we'll do this, it'll be really funny." And then I was like, and it was. I was like, all right, okay. And then I turn around halfway through the set, like, oh, that's going well. Yeah, it's 2 for 2. So I've won half, and James has won half. Yeah, they're keeping score. It's not rehearsed. So every time it's a surprise to the winner or loser. Yeah, the idea of the rock paper scissors is rehearsed, but the result is not. Yeah. Towards the end of Battleborn's set, you of course joined in on vocal duties. I take was that pre-planned or did that just happen? No, but yes. So as they said, Jack was poorly that day. It's really sad because have you ever met Jack before? He's a really lovely bloke. Really kind, really big fan of music in general, and he's a great vocalist and frontman. But they pulled off so well without him that day. But they pulled. We got there quite early because coming from Plymouth, you sort of don't know what the traffic's gonna be like. Obviously, they were on their travels from the previous day, which I think was Leicester. I think I said I can't remember now, but either way, we both turned up more or less around the same sort of time. And they pulled up, unloaded, and then we sort of spoke a bit to them. And Tom was like, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna sort of like hand a microphone out to the crowd and go, I know you know the words to bring the metal back, so you can do that one. I was like, all right. And I thought like it was an offhand sort of like, hey, joke. And then I was like, okay, I'm singing metal today.
Yeah, it was a really cool moment as well. It felt off the cuff, but in that sort of like special kind of like one-off thing, which was really really cool. Did you say
Yeah.
this was your first show in Bristol? Did I hear that right?
Yes, that was correct.
Cool. So starting at the Griffin, always the best place to start. This first place my band ever played. So I feel your pain. We're a 5-piece as well, and that stage is tight. You know what all your bands smell like after a show at the Griffin. I'll just say that.
Yeah, like I remember looking after we finished, we packed up our stuff, and I went to go speak to a friend who was there, and then I went back upstairs to watch Eventail, and I was sort of at the back of the room looking in, and this first time I get to see like what it's like for another band there, and I realised that we were really quite far back. We could have gone forward a little tiny bit more. I know I said like at the start that we'll take a step forward, but I didn't realise where the stage level was. Obviously, there isn't really a stage, but where like your performance area is, anyway, let's say. And I was like, we could have gone a bit more further forward. I didn't have to be like sniffing James's armpit the whole time.
Yeah, and it's tough because James it moves around.
He moves around and he's like 6'2".
Yeah, so
it doesn't help.
He's there. He's all arms and legs, and you can't. You need to fight James to find some space.
Yeah, like
so
Nate's
bigger
quite,
stage is better.
Nate's quite sort of like
compact.
She's got a little area, like she's got a little territory. You walk around a little bit, you get in there a bit more. Okay. I like throw myself around, wherever it's going to be, and that is not a place you can really move around freely. And James was trying his hardest too. I was as well.
But it's really, you get really close to the crowd, so there's that kind of. Our first show was a really sort of small venue, and it was really intimate as well. And I really enjoyed those kinds of shows.
Oh, me too, especially.
So Griffin's fantastic for that.
Definitely.
I absolutely love that. Definitely play there again whenever we can.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I'll play there again in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Nightmare.
Yeah, I have smacked my head on those speakers performing so many times. I think first time I've ever played there, first song I start headbanging and bang right smack into the speaker, and that fucking hurt. But trial by fire, you got to get those bruises one day. So
I'm 5'1", and I was worried about to hit my head.
Yeah. So speaking of live shows, though, I think you referenced it already, but I have to do it. We're Crushing Sounds. We're not a Bloodstock channel. We might as well be. We talk about it all the time. You guys are in the final for Devon and Cornwall's Metal to the Masses competition, in the running to play a set at this year's Bloodstock Festival. Congrats on making it to the final, guys. I take it it's been going really, really well.
Yes, we had a weird route to the final. Like it was literally our second ever gig, and we only really not the only reason. Obviously, we wanted to play Bloodstock, but like the weird way around it is that I had a previous band which never really took off properly. And I was like, oh, we'll apply for Metal to the Masses for next year. And the band, thankfully, that band sort of fell apart. But then I still had the place. And I was like, when I joined this band, I was like, oh, I've got this place. We just say we changed our name. So I was just like, oh no, it's a different band now, different band. It's Raw Shepherd now. And so it was like, we were like, oh, at least we got like the Metal to the Masses gig as like a placeholder, like to push ourselves to get to a performance level. So we were like sort of kept practicing, making sure we were ready for the heat we were in, which was middle of March. And then from there, like we did really well. We won the judges' vote. Audience loved us. But unfortunately we lost on the public vote was significant for another band called Apathy, who are really, really great. Great band, and they deserve a place in the final. We graciously lost to them in our heat. But then they also had a first and second place went through. So first goes straight through to final for in-out because it changes in different districts, and second place had a second place final, which would give them another chance to get to the final. But then they were like, "We loved you so much." Here's like a wild card option we're going to throw in this year. So like, if we are sort of like, we'll go through the rest of the bands that got come close and then see what it is. And then thankfully they chose us at the end of it, and we got entered back into second place playoff, and we thankfully won.
We had a few
shows between
Oh yeah, it's quite
that heat and the most recent heat last weekend. And so we had, or the people who go to those kinds of shows had more exposure to us as a band.
yeah.
So I think that helped, it being our second show. And I mean, it's so great to take part for any number of reasons. You get experience of a really fantastic stage, Live Wire Youth Music in Saltash. They do fantastic work there anyway, but they have this amazing stage, amazing lights, and amazing technicians who do sort of the front of house sound and who do all the lighting work as well. So it was great to be on a stage like that. It was great to be able to network with more local bands and bands from Exeter, like Apathy.
And Ashen.
Ashen as well. Yeah, they're from down next to way.
Oh.
Yeah, I keep saying that's me. Sorry. But so it's great to network with those bands. And we've started all those friendships now.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a really lovely place to be, especially as a new band. You've got, we were starting from zero because we weren't really integrated in the scene before.
I had been years prior, but like lockdown, obviously no local gigs. So I sort of like fell out of the circle, and then when it came back around again, I was just working non-stop. And whenever there's a local gig, it was like, well, I don't know who any of them are. And obviously there's not an attitude to have necessarily with like local bands. You should go check out everything you can. But like, before, I'm a massive fan of they played at Griffin a few times. I've seen Cybernetic Witch Cult, the doomy stoner proggy psychedelic mess. But I love that band so much, and I would see them pretty much weekly. Like, I've seen them I think 22 times. Majority of the time at the Junction in Plymouth. Like, I've seen that many times. So I saw every single local band you can think of, Plymouth and sort of surrounding areas. So I used to know them all, and I know lots of people from that. But then you see bands drift apart. Some bands go on hiatus. Some bands change their sound completely. Some change all the members. So by the time we've come around to this earlier this year, when we've started, everything I knew is no longer there. So we had to sort of like start again. But thankfully, it's a great scene. It's very diverse as well. Like,
really diverse, and everyone's really welcoming. And we've had a lot of support from all the local bands. So big love to all of there are too many to name.
My mum as well.
Yeah. So it was great for that, to sort of integrate ourselves as individuals, but also as a band in the scene. And then also Keith Conlin does local photography. Kinky. And his photos are so fantastic. As a band, having those kind of images or that kind of imagery that you can use then to sort of advertise yourself as a band, and to advertise, the local scene. It's a great opportunity for that as well. So, taking part is just a spring of it's just a spring of opportunities, and it's great, great memories, a great time. And we're just really, really grateful to have got through after winning the wild card. And to go into the final is a bit surreal.
We've had a sort of the journey, a very sort of
roundabout way of doing it.
Very much sort of a Tolkien sort of style journey to get there. But regardless of what the result is in the end,
we're going into the volcano.
We're going into the volcano, and I'm going to bite your thumb off. But, but no, we're really happy to have actually got there. What that was our 6th ever gig. And got to the final. So I mean, like, if everything aligns perfectly, like in theory, like our 9th ever gig would be Bloodstock, which would be like so bizarre.
It'd be very surreal.
But like, whatever happens, we're happy. And I think that the 4 other bands we're up against, they all deserve a place there.
Absolutely.
And
the South can't lose.
No, exactly.
The Southwest metal scene cannot lose. Any of the bands.
They're great.
Going
it's
up.
really diverse. I mean, we got like sort of stonery rocky band. We got like psychedelic, atmospheric metal. We got thrash metal. We got us, and then we got sort of new metal-y kind of
new metal,
sort of, revivey kind of thing. and there's 5 completely different things, and regardless of what else is on the New Blood stage this year, there's something there for someone, and I think is a good eclectic mix to show you what the Southwest is like.
Awesome stuff. So, quick little tidbit. My band actually was supposed to do Devon and Cornwall this year,
Really?
but now we're doing Bristol instead. We're in the final for the Bristol one, which is
Oh,
awesome.
no, congratulations.
But I'm kind of I'm glad. No, cheers. I'm glad I'm not on the Devon and Cornwall one though, because the all finals lineup is actually a damn good night in and of itself. You got you guys, Lacerta, Death Assault. It's some really, really good stuff. Who are you eyeing up as your big competition, apart from yourselves, obviously?
I don't. I think we don't really see it as competition.
No, not at all. I think too many people do find music to be too much of a competition. It's like you like put 2 paintings up against each other. It's art, you go, oh, that Rembrandt's not as good as
Sure.
this Turner. It's
Yes, and it's so diverse that there's every band is unique. It has its own place, and it's all we're all working together essentially in the scene to just build up something that is fertile for hopefully more new bands. And more
Apathy
diverse.
is a great example because they're all like 17, 18, and like I'm just sat there watching them, or stood there, but I'm stood there going, I wasn't doing that at that like 17, 18. I was at home being a Facebook moderator.
Yeah.
They're there like playing fantastic music, like really technical and atmospheric, and I'm like, great. I was sat at home listening to Cold World, editing my Facebook page, going, "Oh, I'm going to post a meme in 5 minutes," and they're there on stage having the best time of their lives. And
I think we've the only band we haven't played with, I think, is Sage. So I think that's something I always look forward to. Whatever the band is that we haven't played with. Just to get to know those people and network. And we haven't played with Mechanized. So Mechanized are headlining that evening.
They won last year, and I know a couple of them from other bands, things that they've been in.
Yeah, great
James
bands.
knows them quite well as well, and they're great guys. They've been so supportive of us as well. Like,
so, we're really looking forward to.
So we're planning to see them. They seem to play like 1 or 2 sort of sporadic gigs, whilst we sort of like we were hopefully going to try and organise something with them soon. Just
we can,
outside of the competition, because not going to have any Rembrandts versus Turners.
Yeah, of course. The 2 years my band have done Melted Masses, it's almost like networking is kind of almost more the point to us than actually getting to Bloodstock. Don't get me wrong, I would love to play Bloodstock, but it's just a great experience just meeting bands anyway, really. So it's almost like we don't want to win in a way so that we can keep doing this every year, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Special guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always great to be part of it. Have you guys ever been to Bloodstock, even as like audience members?
Yeah, I went 2018, primarily because Ailstorm and Nightwish playing, which are actually my number 1 and number 2 bands. So like I went along primarily for that, but then there's other bands I went to see, like Emperor, Suicidal Tendencies, Camelot, and things like that as well. But I found so much stuff that weekend which blew my mind. Like I couldn't believe it. And some bands who I never really cared for before, and I saw them, I was like, wow, they're great. I was talking earlier on because you just come back from Download, so we're talking about festivals, and I was questioning if it had like any catastrophic errors happen, like anyone's sound crashing. And when I went, Amaranth had a really, really severe their backing tracks sort of just went, and like they sort of everything sort of fell apart. And it was a shame because I was really enjoying them. I'd never enjoyed them on record before. And I was like, they're great. What the hell, they're great. And then all of a sudden the sound goes. I was like, no. I haven't been able to see them again since then. But like it's, again, a diverse festival where a lot of stuff which, I didn't necessarily think I would like, I was leaving. Mostly cheesy power metal, that's what I listened to. But
Yeah, I remember 2018 Bloodstock really well because that's the year me and my brother got horrendously ill at the festival. I do not recommend that. That was fine. We got our deck chairs, just sat enjoying Nightwish at the end, but then it was quite the crawl back home after that. And you said you went to download. I'm surprised you're not still queuing.
So the Wednesday, we heard, I guess like everyone did, that it was awful. But we didn't have a single issue on any of the other days. So we drove up on the Thursday, got back today. And yeah, we had absolutely no issues with queuing or anything. It was otherwise really well organized. It was just that first.
You were off site though, so
yes, yeah, we were
glamping, not camping.
Oh, it's nice having a shower at the end of the day.
So a shower, to shower of mud.
There was no mud. There was only dust. It was incredibly hot.
Let's talk about your music. So, elevator pitch time. How would you describe your music to those who have yet to check you out?
Well, that goes down to you.
So we play melodic death metal. That's quite a broad spectrum. The idea was always to take the big sort of epic melodic hooks that I really enjoy from bands like Arch Enemy, Insomnium, and mix them with thrash, Testament, death metal, Decapitated. So it's the classic melodic death metal recipe, but we've tried to sort of mix it and make it fresh and new. That's the aim, at least, while still being identifiably melodic death metal. So you know what you're getting, but it doesn't sound like anything you've necessarily heard before.
Yeah, I think like some bits are a bit sort of like, for example, one of the, there's a lot of songs which we haven't played live yet, but there's like one track on the album which I think is a little bit sort of like industrially at the end. And then we've also got some other songs which, particularly the third track on the album, is very much like, to me, sounds quite sort of mid 2000s alt metal, but also kind of that early Trivium-y kind of sound as well. Like, but yeah, again, it's not like we got that, oh, we're a metalcore band, but like it's in the sense that like it's still very distinguishably Melodeath, but it's catchy in a different way. It's catchy like a sort of like a, oh, I remember this Trivium song, but oh, it's not Trivium.
So how did you go about forming War Shepherd? How did it come to be?
So I had, it was just after lockdown, and I was playing, I can't remember, it was some game, and I thought, what am I doing? Like, I need to do something else. I need to, sort of, I've got a lot of creative energy, and I felt like I needed to put that somewhere more constructive. So I wrote these songs, and at that point, I started trying to just find people who were interested in, performing this stuff with me and, forming this band. So I put out a bunch of ads. I spoke to a lot of local people. I did play with a couple of people, PMC, Plymouth Music Collective.
Big ups.
Yeah, they're fantastic there. That didn't work out for whatever reason. And then I found Nay, the bassist, shortly after Steve messaged me. He discovered my ad and he messaged me. And then Jamie and James came on board quite close to one another.
James was just before me.
He's just before you.
Yeah, because I had some stuff going on. So at the time I first messaged Chris, I was like, oh, if you still need a vocalist in 2-3 weeks' time, I'll turn up. And but then James obviously was aware of there was a previous vocalist before me for a little bit, like we were trying out. And James is aware of that person. I'm not aware of that person, so it's clearly I'm the baby. I'm the last one, last piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and that was I guess we were then together as we are now in December.
Yeah, I think like my first practice when it was James as well was like 9th of December. So been together pretty much nearly 6 months a day, 7 months a day, where it is. Maths.
Yeah, cool. I was checked out your music on Spotify before this interview, and in my notes I just wrote arch enemy, and I don't mean that in a like you're copying them kind of thing. It's just I know what you're getting at there when you said that band was a very clearly quite a key inspiration for you guys. Was the sound that you ended up becoming, did you go in with that already in your head, or did it just sort of like, did that come together more gradually?
I think when I was writing, I've written now 83 songs. So I'm really intense when I sort of sit down. I go into the zone, and that's it. That's all I'm doing. I kind of like hyperfixate on whatever the creative thing is, and so songwriting is I get into that zone really easily, I find. And so I'd written a lot of songs, and I started off sort of more with sort of a tech death kind of thing, and I gradually became more melodic in terms of the songwriting, and it was a conscious choice to. I really like Arch Enemy. That's absolutely my favorite band, and there's no other band that sounds like Arch Enemy to me.
Us.
Well, that was that, right? That's to me, there was a gap. There is a gap there for that sound. I felt, I still do feel, because I went down the rabbit hole of trying to find, I've been on all the Reddit threads of bands that sound like Arch Enemy, and nothing that was suggested felt close enough. So it was a conscious choice to. What is it that I like about that band? What are they doing that no other band is doing? And how can I take those things that I love so much and build them into songs that are new, that I would like to play, and that to me, sound the way that I would expect a band to sound if Arch Enemy was their inspiration. So it was a conscious choice. But having said that, I'm influenced by loads of different bands and lots of different music. Mostly metal. That's my home. So there's loads of different inspirations flowing into the music, and with the tracks that we haven't released yet, or even our most recent track, "Living Through a Hope," that's that big death metal opener. That was really sort of a at the gates kind of influenced thing going on there.
So at this time, you have 2 songs released on Spotify, unless there's more elsewhere and I didn't find it. Solitary State and Living Through Your Hate. Screw it, let's talk about them both. The riffs and guitar parts for these 2 songs, I thought was seriously impressive stuff. Really, really enjoyed them. When I was listening to both of the songs after I saw you live, I kept thinking, oh, that riff's great. And then 10 seconds later, oh, no, I like that one even more. It's just a constant onslaught of awesome guitar work. I'm a guitarist, so I'm biased. But it created a very epic scope, is what I'm trying to say. Was epic a vibe you wanted to get across?
Yeah, absolutely. We're sort of still working on, we're not going to sort of give too much away, but there is an underlying concept to all the songs and to the way lyrically the way the themes of each track unfold, and so that sort of harmonizes itself with the music, which is Arch Enemy is a very big epic band, to my ears at least, and that is something that I really like. I really enjoy big cinematic bands that have like a big cinematic element. So, I absolutely love Dimmu Borgir, for example. That's a really on the nose example, but for me, that's so big and so grandiose. And it's just a case of taking that feeling and bringing it and injecting it, hopefully in an effective way, into our music. So yeah, it's definitely going for a big cinematic type of sound. Was a goal, and it still is. It's still trying to find how we can push it and make it just that little bit more epic, hopefully.
It particularly comes across on Living Through Your Hate. I love when that last chorus just comes charging in. It's really, really cool. Really, really, really cool. So without giving too much away of the whole album, what themes got like with the lyrics can we talk about with Living Through Your Hate?
With most of the songs lyrically in the whole album, they fit the concept, but they can also be taken out of context. Like, but with Hate in particular, that was like kind of primarily it is about sort of rapists and pedophiles and short, it's people who maim others and don't really see any wrong, which obviously is a very grim topic, but unfortunately, in my lifetime I've come across people who've turned out to be individuals who are like that. And it's kind of felt very important to one way or another for us to be able to sort of like point out and say like fuck off, it's just it's wrong, and there's no short way around it. But like the people who have to live through what someone else has done to them, which obviously is the title, Living Through Your Hate, it's a hateful act to harm anyone, regardless if it's me going like that, pointing him really hard, point hurt you, and there we go, or someone sexually assaulting someone on instead of paedophilia and rape and sexual assault. It can scar someone really horrendously. I unfortunately know people who have been affected by these things, and they are very much still living through what they've gone through, which is such a horrible, hateful act. And to almost in a way guess get revenge on their behalf through a song. I find for me lyrically, for all the songs, it's a way to, if it's a case of I'm feeling sad, is to be able to be sad in this song and try and leave my emotions with it. Whether it's me being angry, put my lyrics just in that one song, and that's hopefully where I leave it. Or if it's, adventurous and all that, I can leave like sort of this like happy, adventurous feeling there. I can go back to it if I'm feeling angry, if I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling upbeat, what it was going to be. And like Hate in particular, it's a very grim topic. It's a setlist staple, so I kind of have to enter that mindset again very briefly for 4 minutes, or it is, for that song. And from there on out, it hopefully gets a bit happier. But it is a very grim song. Solitary State is again quite kind of, I guess, it's uplifting, but it is also quite dark. Yet again, it's sort of, I've left my emotions in that song. That's what I try and do with lyrics in particular.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. That was way deeper than I was expecting to get. So thank you very much. So let's talk. I've gushed over the guitars already, so let's talk about the vocals. I listen to a lot of underground bands that pass through Bristol, and I hear a lot of harsh vocalists. Yours, however, sound so raw. Is there, and I can't really describe it. Is there a technique to that, or is it like force of will?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Like, everyone seems to think my vocals are really unique. I'm just like, what's vocals? For me, like, primarily vocally, my vocals, like, I learned singing along to stuff like Alexi from John the Bodom, Travis Ryan from Cat Decapitation, also like mixture of all three vocalists of Arch Enemy over the years. And that's not just a mention it because we were talking about Arch Enemy a minute ago. It's just they were bands I used to listen to. But primarily the way I learned how to do vocals was me and my friends would play Guitar Hero World Tour, and like the songs had harsh vocals, I would just be like, I'll do the vocals. So we like screaming fire by Bullet Valentine, and it's like 13-year-old me blowing my voice and going, scream! Where it's gonna be. And eventually moved on to Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, and then Nemesis by Arch Enemy's on there, and I started to learn how to do it. I don't necessarily know too much what my technique is. I know I'm not hurting myself because I can continuously do it. It's primarily inhale with like a mixture of like sort of like fry and also it's quite a lot of it's whistle register as well, which like I sort of control somehow. I don't know how. Again, it's kind of like when you see those people who play like the old weird pianos of like the bells on them from like the old cartoons in the 20s, kind of like that. Like, don't know how it works, but it sounds right.
Fair enough. I like how quite varied they are as well. You go cover all areas of the spectrum, really. There's even some cheeky cleans in there as well. So
Yeah.
and anyone who references Travis Ryan, Couch Decapitation, it's a positive in my book because I fucking love
Travis
that band.
Ryan's an angel.
Gojira Offspring. Oh.
Oh, he's the best. I bet he's a lovely bloke as well. I have never met him,
Yeah,
but I don't know. He just has that vibe.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah. Something else I really like about your releases, and this isn't really to do with the music as such, but I love the artwork that you guys use, not just in the singles, but even like announcements you put out. I love the use of colors and it's a really cool logo as well that you've got. How was that created?
That was so. I was with our bassist Nay. We were looking at art, and we had some concepts sort of drafted up through Midjourney, which is AI, and there was sort of a particular. It wasn't so it was the logo, but it wasn't the full image. It kind of there were parts of it, and when I saw it, my mind immediately filled in the blanks that would connect all these other bits. So I extracted the bits that we had, filled in the blanks, and then we were left with that sigil. And I really like the idea, especially because the band itself has a concept, and I really like the use of symbols in sort of the artwork and the general media for bands. So like a band like Garea, they have their sort of on their mask, and that was a band that really inspired me in terms of the desire to have some kind of logo. So that's where that came from, and then the sort of the black and gold is kind of we wanted it to match the sort of the tone of the music visually,
quite rich but dark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's how sort of that gold coloring came about.
With like the sigil sort of idea though, like I'm also a big fan of a band that just uses like a logo. Like I see you wearing a Devin Townsend shirt. Like the Devin Townsend project logo is genius. Like it's like, oh, what's my name? Devin Townsend. What's this project? Oh, it's all one big symbol. Like beautiful, genius, absolutely fantastic. And I've got a Sonata Arctica tattoo, like yet again, logo, fantastic. Ailstorm tattoo,
Nice.
again, fantastic. I just love a single image you can just look at and go like, oh, that's that band, but it doesn't say the band. Obviously, I know that's an SNA kind of thing, but with Sonata Arctica as well, like I loved how they just have the little sigil somewhere. Dream Theater's another one, how they got the Majesty logo on every single cover, even though they're not even called Majesty anymore.
Yeah,
it's just like so daft, but like it's like, oh,
it's great.
It's them, and
so another layer. It adds another layer to the
identity, really.
Yeah, to the band, and I really like it when bands do that. When there's multiple layers to the band as a whole. So it's not just the music. You have then the lyrics, which if they contain a story, that's personally I find that really interesting. I like to dig into that. And then if there's symbols and general artwork that then again connects to that in some coherent way, it's another layer that I absolutely love. So a band that sort of really kickstarted my desire to want to have something like was Cody Cambria.
Yeah,
obviously they've got Claudio Sanchez has that comic, and
was the key jewel thing, I thought it's called now, but I know you mean.
Yeah.
Like Carcass is number one with all of the surgical equipment in a circle. Like bands that have an image that doesn't say what they are and use like Nightwish of an owl. That's a common image as well.
Yeah, and in terms of the other stuff being colourful, that's a mixture of just happenstance. We just happen to get photos. A lot of those are from Keith Conlin photography, and he takes such great photos, and the photos that he does capture are always so vibrant, just in themselves.
Yeah.
Um,
Even without like taking the color in an image, he just sort of captures this extra level that like isn't there, but he makes it there. And it's not a case of him adding anything in afterwards. It's just the presence of the image. And like I look at it and go, oh, I actually look quite nice there. He got me really nice.
Yeah,
and it's just this almost feels like he's applied like a life filter to life. Keith is great. I mean, you mentioned him earlier on, we're talking about like sort of our local scene, and he's a fantastic photographer, and he's definitely helped like our online image, because the images which he's obviously kindly let us use to promote ourselves, and obviously we promote him back. He captures us at the perfect moments, like not necessarily if we're posing, but like I recently used one of the recent pictures he took for my profile picture on Facebook, because got to look like I'm a pop star in front of everyone, and it's an image. I look at myself in it, and I'm just like, that isn't me. That's like a completely different person. That's who I'd see in Kerrang when I was like 13. Go, oh, how's that?
Yeah, so the having the colors, that bright imagery, we all really like it. It's it's interesting. If you go to the page, you want to check out War Shepherd the band, you go into the page and you're going to see things that are worth looking at, hopefully, that provides some visual interest.
Bit of comedy thrown in there as well.
Yeah, and that's important to me, because I do that for bands that I really like. I check out their social media, and I like it when there's a bit more to look at.
Anytime, like for example, we have the opportunity to play with a band that we might not necessarily know that well, we'll go, oh, look them up, and we look at their social media, and like the first thing we'll look for is like how punchy it is, not necessarily like how many followers they got, how many people are going to be in the audience, that kind of thing. It's more a case of just sort of like go like, oh, they look really cool, really good to interact with. Obviously, we check out their music and all that stuff as well, which is obviously really great. But like to be able to see, because I think like you get an idea of what someone's like through how they present themselves on social media. Not necessarily all the time, because obviously you get like some atmospheric and concept-based black metal bands, things like that, when they come across as really scary and like very bland or like very simplistic. But then like you meet them, like, hi, I'm Tim. I work in a pharmacy, kind of thing. And they're like, oh, hello, Tim. You're very scary on stage. But like for us, I think like you've got a mix up of like, it's a little bit daft here, but then it was like, oh, here we are rocking out on stage. And I was like, oh, hey, gig coming up. Like, oh, thanks to our friends for sharing it. Like, I think we come across as friendly, which I hope we are.
We do try.
Yeah, we try our best too. But also like fun, but also a serious band at the same time.
As we've said, you've got only 2 songs out thus far. When can we expect to hear more from you guys?
Well, we got a third one we will be releasing soon-ish. Can't really put a thumb down on it yet. The song is done, but it's the case of what comes with it. But we also have an album on the way. Hopefully be out autumn sort of time. Which is all but done basically. I've got one more session of vocals, and then we got gang vocals, and then it's just a case of saying yes to each mix as we go through, and then from there, that's gonna be 11 tracks, obviously including the 2 singles that have come out already. So when the next single comes out, which is mentioned a second ago, there'll be 8 new songs on that. And I think like some of my favorite songs which we have are just the album tracks, which is gonna be really like quite cool to be able to hear what other people think as well. Because like it's been nice hearing like the positive things that yourself and other people said about like Solitary State and Live For Your Hate, but in particular like song 10 on the album, which we will be throwing into the live set hopefully quite soon. That's like my favorite song, like by a country mile.
But you can't hear
it.
Not yet.
But it is a great song, and like I love it. I love what I did lyrically. I love what you've done, obviously, instrumental. It's just it is very very like diverse, like it's sort of kind of a bit sort of like industrially one bit, and then it's also like very power metal-y, but also like very thrashy. It's just sort of like it's a whole journey through extreme metal basically.
And Tom Errington is mixing and mastering. as well. The album he's done the last 2 tracks, and he's doing the full album. So
Yeah.
thank you, Tom.
He's
done
fantastic.
fantastic work. We recorded drums with him.
I've been doing vocals with him, and we have more time having a laugh and we actually do tracking.
Yeah,
we would have finished ages ago.
But he's a great guy. So Tom Remington for mix and mastering, definitely recommend.
I'll of course links down in the description below, so people can go check out War Shepherd socials, so people can check you guys out and keep abreast of anything new coming down in the pipeline. So before we get to our fun, spectacular outro thing that we do you have any impending live shows you want to quickly plug?
Well, we got one in Plymouth on this Friday, but more up towards your way, we have a gig in Bridgewater on the 24th of June. It's at the Cobblestones, which will be really, really good. Again, we played there already and we love that venue. Bridgewater's great because it's got the best Taco Bell in the Southwest, in my opinion. At the Clink, shout out to Taco Bell at the Clink. We got that one. After that, more towards your way, the closest thing after that would be sort of Yorkshire when we're playing Warhorns. Really. There's a few things we haven't announced yet, which are a bit closer, but like, see, we're sworn under gentlemen and ladies' oaths to not talk about them yet. But got Warhorns coming up, which would be great because we're playing alongside Kalmar, Ifanema, Elliot Vernon from Ailstorm, who is my angel. Same as we're playing with Aventail again. Loads of great bands, and excuse to go north and get very drunk.
So plenty to get excited for. So yeah, definitely, as I say, check the links in the description below so you can follow War Shepherd. So we're nearly at the end, but before we wrap up, we like to end these interviews the same way every single time, with some random quick fire questions that have nothing to do with anything. Think as quickly or as long as you like. You do not have to agree, so feel free to fight it out as well. We always start with this question because I'm forming a tally for my own curiosity. Do you like Ghost?
That is weird.
I listened to Ghosts, and I couldn't have said I was a fan, but I saw them yesterday, and they are fantastic. So I'm completely flipped on it. They are an outstanding band.
And
I couldn't rate them more highly.
I loved the first 2 albums, loved them. Third album was like, nah, shit. Fourth album came out, didn't give a shit. Saw them open for Metallica at Twickenham in 2019. I was like, what the fuck? That's insane. Insane. Went back, listened to the third and fourth album, was like, they're great. The hell, it's just ABBA, but like Blue Oyster Cult ABBA. And then, yeah, I mean, I didn't bother listening to the most recent one, but yes, I do like them. But
so good.
They're better a live band than I think.
They were fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
They're good on record, but live.
I'm definitely going to go back and check out all their stuff again with sort of that experience in my pocket.
Great. So that's two more in the Team Ghost camp for sure. Team Ghost is winning, by the way. So cool. Next question. What are you currently listening to?
Oh, very, very different. What about you?
I've got a metal box playlist, so I'm going through everything.
Which has our songs on, by the way.
I like to listen to it in context. I think it's important thing to do.
Also, to measure your own penis.
I guess the band that I really, I guess the band from Download now to Undeath. I listened to a lot of Undeath since the Saturday, and Within Temptation. Those are 2 bands that I've listened to a lot.
For me, I don't actually listen to metal that much. I sort of see it as like, it's not being paid to do metal, but it's my day job. I don't want to do that. Don't shit where you sleep. And for me, it's mostly been Billy Joel, who I'm seeing next month, who I'm gonna cry my eyes out when I see him. And The Used, because I've had a bit of a sort of a mid-2000s emo revival myself recently. But they're the main 2 for me recently.
Question 3. Death metal or thrash metal?
Death. All day long.
Ooh. Yes, I don't know. Is it straight up death metal or is it straight up thrash metal? Like,
oh god, are we really gonna start going into subgenres here?
I mean, death metal, like, that can include decapitation. That can include, something else. I don't know. I can't think of death metal at the minute. Or are we talking like, is it just straight up like Cannibal Corpse or Morbid Angel kind of thing?
I mean, my immediate thought went to like the pure death metal, like Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, Death, that kind of thing.
I'd say thrash, but like Morbid Angel alone sort of outweighs thrash. But like I think thrash is a better genre overall.
Fair enough. Next question: modern metal or classic metal?
Ooh,
What's classic metal?
So I
Well,
when I
from the
used
decade
to this
line.
question, I always used to say pre Pantera versus post Pantera, but thinking about it, that's actually that's a lot more post now. So I guess pre 2000 or post 2000, I guess.
Ooh, I'd have to say,
Wow, good question.
say old, purely because if you're saying before 2000, that means Ecliptica by Snarteratica come out, and that's the best power metal album of all time. So
I'd go.
that alone outweighs it.
I'd go post. I'm really enjoying sort of all types of
it's
the new
good,
metal that's
but
been coming out. It's just
have you heard
absolutely
Ecliptica?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
TV show or movie?
TV show Breaking Bad any day.
Yeah,
I'd gobble that
I
up.
do like a good movie, but TV show easier watching. You binge watch it. You go,
Peep
oh,
show.
I've watched 3 episodes, and that's more than a whole film.
Cool. Favorite TV show?
Ooh.
You know what? I went straight in with Breaking Bad, but Peep Show.
We quote that non-stop.
We just that most of our dialogue between each other is just Peep Show.
Who are you doing, Mark?
Johnson.
For me, at the minute, it's probably Bob's Burgers, but overall Fargo.
Oh, that's another. There's so many good TV shows. How could you choose one?
Fargo's so good. Oh,
I'd have to go Peep Show now because I don't think my wife would forgive me if I didn't say Peep Show.
I've lost count of how many times I've watched Peep Show over and over again. It's such a good show.
Well, they do the pub quiz in Bristol, and they have Big Mad Andy Jeff as the guest.
Yeah, as in Jeff. Shit.
Oh God, we could do Peep Show read throughs all day.
Oh,
cool.
Yes. That's the next one.
Yeah. So let's flip it. Favorite Peep Show quote. Fuck it. Favorite Peep Show quote.
Oh. It's for me. It's Johnson. Where he gets some wine and he's just like, I'm just gonna sniff it, and he drinks it when he's at what's the name? Big Susie's party, and he just said, "More for you, asshole." And I say that all the time. So that's my favorite little snippet.
My minute is shove it up your dojo. Or subscribe to Winter.
Johnson's super hands definitely quotable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for me, it's either it's for me it's either there's the scene where Mark's in the laser quest. He just rounds the corner and goes, I suppose I better nail this motherfucker, and just shoots this kid in the chest. That, or because we're doing Alan Johnson, my favorite Alan Johnson quote, and I don't know why, it just makes me die every time, is when he shouts down the stairs, have you moved the big scissors? I don't know why. That just makes me laugh.
That's a top quote. That is
Repeated out of context. It's just like that. It sounds like what it looks like growing up in my household. I'm fighting over the scissors. I need them to cut sellotape.
It's with that Johnson.
Yeah,
jealous.
My mum's just Johnson. Shut up, your dojo.
It's just the show that just keeps giving. Okay, favorite movie.
Ooh. Forrest Gump. Very close second is 13 going on 30. Because at the end of the day, I am still a woman pumping of estrogen, and I love a good chick flick.
I couldn't choose a favorite film. I think something
Twilight. You don't like it,
That's a film. I think it'd be basically anything. I could just choose something from The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and I would be very, very, very at home watching that.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings is mine for sure. Just all three. It's one movie. Cool. And go to food before or after a show, and I think we've already covered this one.
Yeah. Well, it depends where you are. If it's Bristol, please.
be honest with you, like the few gigs we have played, like I don't really think we have eaten too much afterwards. Really, after the
No.
last Plymouth one, you went and got KFC, but I'm pescatarian, so I don't partake in the KFC.
Yeah, we've
but
thrown chicken at him.
yeah, throw chicken at me. I'm just crying in the corner. But I think
that is the one. Like post show, we
it's
go
fast.
to
It's like McDonald's.
or something.
If it's a KFC, that's a vegan burger.
Yeah,
There's only got 2 of them in Plymouth, mind you. But yeah, I'll just say it's probably McDonald's, something like that.
after, yeah, but before a show, I think I try and eat something,
Prime Minister.
Yeah, if we can get to Bristol and back,
Yeah,
in time.
get one of the overpriced sort of like chilled ones in the supermarket, heat that up.
Yeah,
Not as good, but it's an option.
Great. What's one of your pet peeves?
Ooh, Peeves the Poltergeist from the first Harry Potter book.
oh,
That was a bad joke.
there you go. There's one of my
I don't
pet
know.
peeves.
There you go.
I don't know. I don't really have pet peeves.
Yeah, I don't necessarily
I
think
don't get annoyed by them too much.
Oh, James, whenever he's micromanaging. I'm gonna do this, but I want to be a yes man. Fuck off, you lanky bastard.
Love you, really, James.
I don't know. I just think sort of people being bastards.
Yeah, just negativity. I think that's the
Yeah.
general pet.
Yeah.
People who can't enjoy anything.
Like me.
Yeah, that's a bit of a where everything has to have something negative going
Yeah.
on. That's sort of like a downer.
I am the negativity. I don't have to have it around me.
You're a ray of sunshine.
Cool. Fair enough. Back to music. Sing-alongs or breakdowns?
Sing along.
Sing along. Yeah.
Sing along. Power metal. All we need. Or Billy Joel. He's got a good sing along. Longest time. All a cappella. 5-part harmonies there. And a hi hat.
I'll have to say James' word for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone's got to have covered and put a breakdown in that song. Someone's definitely done it.
I get paid for ages. Like I was going to do
Grindcore Billy Joel.
Yeah. exactly. It was quite good.
Awesome. Probably covered this as well, but whatever. Favorite band / artist?
Arch Enemy. Absolutely love Arch Enemy.
My favourite bands, Ailstorm, have been for life. I'm literally wearing an Ailstorm shirt. My boobs, that one. Ailstorm shirt, got an Ailstorm sleeve. They've been good friends with me for years. Big ups, Chris, Bob, Elephant, Ghost of Gareth Murdoch, and Pete. But favourite musician is Billy Joel.
Awesome. And final question: favorite War Shepherd song?
Oh,
Oh, it's the next one for me. It's the next.
The people already know the name.
Yeah, Starless Sky.
It's Starless Sky.
Yeah, that's the next one to come out, and I'm very excited for that.
I
love that song.
I'll just say out the ones which are on the current set list, but I don't want to spoil them because I said that my favourite one sort of towards the end of the album is probably self-titled song, which I probably said. What did I say in Bristol? It was I said we're not Battleborn. The song's War Shepherd, but the song's called War Shepherd. It's just fun. End of the gig, and as you probably saw, I just threw myself into the crowd at the end of it, and it's an easy one for me to sing as well. It's just fun. So that one, I sort of think, oh, having fun. End of the set.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear both of those tracks in the future. So that's all I've got. So thank you again, guys, so much for joining me. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's so it was just surreal,
Exactly.
to be doing something like this.
We've been talking about all week. I've been like on WhatsApp, like, oh, we do. Previous projects I've done like sort of evenings that before, which have been, they're fun and all that. But like, I didn't be speaking. I'm like, best behaviour, make sure my hair's nice.
Yeah, it's
no.
Thank you very much for the opportunity for us to talk about the band and
music in general,
and talk about music
and quickly, yeah. And thank you guys again for joining me.
Well, since that's a life
Thank you again for joining me.
Anytime.
And I'll I will get the sentence out. I'll reiterate again. Check out the links in the description below, people watching, so you can go support Water Shepherd and get excited for some new music, hopefully coming very soon.